Okay, so I mean we're on week three already, which is rebalance. So I use rebalance to really talk about sort of getting balance in our mental well-being and helping with that whole gut-brain axis. Did you guys manage to watch the video?
Most of it, I got
Yeah.
10 more minutes left.
Any, did that generate any questions or something that I wasn't clear about? Because I sometimes like go off on one and then realize that I've been talking for ages about something.
No, it was very helpful.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. So hopefully that sort of gave you some ideas of, how what's going on up here can really impact our gut. And then also the other way around, obviously. So if I've got clients that are like really struggling with mental well-being, we'll do a lot of gut work because of that connection. So I just think it's really interesting how we don't always put the two together, but there is a massive connection. Um, so what I thought would be good to do tonight is I thought we'd talk following on from like talking about gut brain axis and all that, we talk more about lifestyle stuff because we've talked a lot about food to like sort of take out and we talked about things to bring in to relieve the symptoms and stuff. And this week talking about sort of gut brain axis seems to be a nice time to bring in a bit more lifestyle tips as well. And obviously there's always a little bit of a crossover over the weeks when we have a chat that things come up every week. But I just thought it doesn't hurt to kind of focus a bit more on lifestyle this week. So let me know if you've got any questions, but I did make a list of some things that would be good to think about when you're looking at the, lifestyle side instead of food and, diet and supplement side. Um, so obviously, because in the
So
video,
I had a question.
yeah,
So I had one question. So
yeah,
I had a meal last week that
yeah,
left me really bloated. The only thing I can think of that was in it was there was a lot of leeks. Would that
okay.
just
Well, you said onions cause you trouble
Yeah,
sometimes.
but I've never had a problem with leeks.
Ah,
But it
so
did.
right.
But I
Yeah,
don't know if that can cause
well,
it.
it's part of the same family. It's still part of the allium family, so it is a similar family. It's a shame because leeks are actually a really good prebiotic. So they're quite nice. They're very fibrous and they're quite nice at sort of feeding all the good bacteria. So it's a shame. Maybe it was just too much as opposed to, you can't tolerate any. Or it could just be, maybe that meal you just ate like too fast or too stressed or, it could be any, yeah, I guess it could be the fact that it was the alliums. But if you haven't had that before, see how it goes.
No.
See if you can tolerate a little bit and then build it back up. Um, Yeah, I just
Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
disturb you or
no, that's
anything.
okay. That's fine. No, no, that's fine. That's what we're here for. So that's perfect. No, that's fine. But did you find that even though you did react, the reaction wasn't quite as bad?
Yeah, well, it was literally that night. But yeah, it was just bloating, nothing
Okay.
else. So it's fine.
Okay. All right. We're getting there.
So that's good.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we're doing Heal Your Gut in 4 weeks, but of course, when you've got like years of, bad gut health, it does take time for the body to adjust and for things to really kick in. And, you do notice a big improvement in 4 weeks, but sometimes it can take a bit longer for the really deep healing to happen. So, if you carry on and you keep persevering with the plan, for the next few weeks, you're really going to notice that the tolerance goes up a lot. Definitely. So, with regards to lifestyle tips that I wanted to talk about today, because it's all kind of really supporting that rest and digest mode. Because as we know from the video on Monday, that it's all when the IBS is kicking in, that's all fight and flight mode. So we're trying to keep out of fight and flight mode and be more in rest and digest mode. That's what's going to keep the body like nice and calm and everything functioning as it should. So with that in mind of sort of supporting rest and digest, I made like a little list of things, and they're not in a particular order, to be honest. I just kind of brainstormed some ideas. And if there's anything that you find really helps for you, then jump in and we can add to the list. But I was, one thing I do like to say is you shouldn't obviously it's still food related, but more lifestyle side is don't overeat. I mean, obviously, I know it sounds a bit obvious, but if you're somebody that, is trying to sort of let the gut heal and you're trying to give everything time to get into rest and digest, yeah, having Christmas dinner size portions, regularly is going to make that quite hard. It just blocks everything up and makes it quite hard for the digestive system to cope. But at the same time, you don't want to be grazing all day either. You do want to be able to have, a 2 to 3 hour gap between feeds, if you like, to make sure that the body can break down and digest whatever it is you've just eaten before you put any more food in there. So it's like that balance between not eating too much in one go, but also not grazing all day either. So on my membership, I talk about 3 meals and a mini meal. So it's eating 4 times a day. And if you're doing the 12 to 14-hour fast overnight, you've got 10 hours to do that. So 10 to 12 hours, depending on how long your fast is. So there's definitely room to kind of spread those out, but have pockets where you're not eating anything and you're letting the body get into rest and digest. And then, of course, doing the 14 hours or 12 hours at night gives you even longer in that rest and digest mode at night time to really let everything clear out. And that's really quite important because we call it the MMC, the migrating motor complex, which is that muscular peristalsis through the gut. A lot that happens at night. That's like the cleaning up process. So letting the body get into that rest and digest is really important. And these sorts of little tips can really be a difference between feeling better the next day and not. Um, Other things that you can do is also obviously keeping hydrated, so making sure you're drinking water during the day. Don't just gulp loads of water with your meals and think that, oh, I've had my 8 glasses because I've had like four and four. Try and spread them out over the day because you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated. Again, that helps keep all the gastric juices going, so that's going to help with digestion as well. Um, what else have I got on here? Okay, so getting into that rest and digest. So things like having a warm bath at night can be really helpful. I mean, you can have it any time of the day. Obviously, if you've got cramps and pains, a warm bath can be really helpful. But particularly at night, thinking of rest and digest and letting the body have a nice chunk of time in that zone. Warm bath, you can put magnesium salts in the bath, so like Epsom salts, and that can be really lovely and calming on the gut. We actually can absorb the magnesium through the skin, so you can bathe in it. If you don't want to put magnesium in, you could put um, even things like oats in the bath. So we use oat baths for more for things like eczema and irritated skin. But again, it's just that whole idea of like calming and making like the bath very soothing. The body picks up on that and it sends really nice signals to like calm everything down. Um, so I would say like a nice warm bath, prioritizing sleep. I think I added the sleep handout on Monday. Remember, I know it's gone up at some point. Was it on Monday? So again, prioritizing sleep gets you into that rest and digest. So all those tips on there. Okay, I think there's like 10 tips on there. You're not going to do them all clearly, and you definitely won't do them all every night. But just pick a few that work for you. And sometimes it's a bit of trial and error, which ones actually resonate better with you. But things like not having, bright lights at night, not watching things on Netflix that are too stressful, watching something that's very calm and relaxing because the brain doesn't distinguish between fact and fiction. So if you're watching something stressful, however ridiculous it is, you're still raising your cortisol and getting out of that rest and digest mode. Um, Things like, being calm at night, letting the melatonin come up, letting the cortisol go down because we want the cortisol out of the gut as well to bring the inflammation down. So that's all really helpful. So just trying to make sure that you're doing all these little things to help prioritize sleep can be really helpful. Other things is if you do suffer with digestive issues, sometimes just raising the head of the bed a little bit can be really helpful. So it's not always so comfortable to sleep with loads of pillows because you're like kind of propped a bit awkward in the bed. But if you prop up maybe from underneath the mattress or underneath the foot of the bed, just like a few inches, so there's that ever so slight angle, that can sometimes help because you're just keeping up, I guess it's gravity, isn't it? Just keeping everything down more in the gut. So that can be quite helpful as well. Um, Other things with regards to movement. By the way, that reminds me that the movement session went up today on the movement part of the modules at the beginning. The first one's gone up. The second one I'm having trouble editing, so I'm going to get that up as soon as possible. But the first one's there, so you can do you can do the movements. It's with Faye, who's a brilliant yoga and Pilates instructor, and she's done a lovely gut healing session for us. It's about 12 minutes long. So it's a really nice stretching and, nice movement to get through the gut. But to use the video for a bit of inspiration because doing all those stretchings again, it just helps to, we spend so much time sitting, like slouched, don't we? We do it without even thinking. But when we sit up and we open, I know you can't see my hand, but you open that part of the rib cage up and you breathe properly. You're helping the diaphragm to be in the right position, and that means you're not squashing all the digestive system. So again, that really is very helpful, can really make a real difference. So trying to make sure that you do open up this part of the abdomen, that part, the rib cage and down when you can. And when you're breathing, we should be breathing. So a lot of the time we don't think about breathing or we breathe wrong, which just sounds ridiculous because obviously everyone breathes, but we breathe very shallow or we breathe with our lungs expanding when we breathe out instead of when we breathe in. It's just really weird. So when you're trying feel it without being consciously breathing, and you'll notice if you're doing it properly or not. But obviously, when we breathe in, the lungs should expand ever so slightly, and when we breathe out, the lungs should collapse. And very often, people will breathe the wrong way, and that again puts a lot of pressure on the diaphragm, and that follows through, putting pressure on all the digestive system as well. So thinking about posture, thinking about breathing well can be really helpful. Stretching, so all like stretching the body up, but also twisting as well. When you twist, you loosen things up in the digestive system, opening that whole area up. So, trying to keep the hip bones, facing forward, but then twisting the top of the body can be a really nice way to open that all up. And Faye definitely does some of that on one of the videos, so you can see it. But it's just a really nice, I wouldn't do it in like a jerking movement, but just very gently and just hold the twist for a little bit, come back to center and twist the other way, breathing really nicely as you're doing it. It's just going to help to really relax that whole area and open it up. And that can be really just really simple, but really helpful. So those were a couple of tips. Um, and then the other things that I had down were you could also, consider going for a gentle walk after eating, again, to help digestion. And then also, if you're other things that you can try is, have you ever heard of castor oil packs? Do you ever use those? So,
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
okay, you have, or
yeah, I have. Yeah.
yeah,
Did you
what have you
try
used
it?
for?
I had no. I heard about it. I haven't tried it.
Okay, you can get them now. I mean, they're really easy to get on like Amazon or Boots or wherever. But basically, you can get a castor oil pack, and it's got castor oil in it, but it's got a cotton pouch, and you tie it around the body wherever you want to do some healing. So, it's specifically really good for drawing out toxins and things like that, but it can be very soothing for pain relief as well. So, putting it around the abdomen area, a couple of times a week, just having it on your abdomen area for, a couple of hours can again really help to like draw out toxins, help the body to relax. It's really good for like cleansing the liver and stuff like that as well, and for like relieving blockages. It's a bit of a like traditional medicine approach, but it's been used for thousands of years, and castor oil is really good for stuff like that. So it's another thing that isn't going to do you any harm. You can try it, and if it helps you, then amazing. It can be very, very good for like detoxing and even like supporting like weight loss and bloating and stuff like that can be quite helpful. So I think the castor oil patch about £20 online, and then you just put the pack on, you warm it up or whatever. So that's something. And then thinking about things like essential oils that you can be using as well. So peppermint and fennel came to mind. But if you're using essential oils, just check if you need to put in a carrier oil to spread it on the body. Otherwise, it can be really strong and it can burn. So just check it's one for topical use and check if it needs to be mixed and diluted in a carrier oil or if it's ready to use. Um, but they're really good as well. And you can just rub it in, and just that whole process of rubbing in can be really helpful. Questions so far, or um, so that leads me on talking about rubbing in. I thought that tonight we could all give our tummies a massage, and we could do it. There's a very specific way to massage the tummy, and I thought we could kind of go through that together a little bit. And I thought it might be like a really nice thing to do when you are lying in bed, when you're relaxing. It's a really good way to kind of help the gut to heal and to help stimulate the digestion and the movement of, I guess, the feces through the digestive system. So it helps with things like constipation, obviously, but it can also help with cramping. It can help with removing like bloat and gas because you're just basically helping it get around the digestive system. So it's something that you're meant to do lying down, really, but we're just going to do it sitting up. But you're very welcome if you want to lie down. You're very welcome to lie down, but I'll do it sitting up with you. But what you want to do is prop yourself up slightly on a few pillows so that you're comfortable. You know, maybe just make sure. I mean, I've done it before where they'd like, like the feeding pillows, those L-shaped breastfeeding pillows that we used to have, so you're like all nicely propped up. So feel comfortable. If you're lying down, you can put a pillow under your knees as well, just to support the knees, because you want your knees slightly up again to let the abdomen area all relax, so it's not stretched out. So you might want to put a pillow under your knees when lying down to be really comfortable. And then what we want to do is we're basically with our hand, we're going to like mimic the movement that through the digestive tract. So there's a couple of movements that you do. So the first one is that you take the heel of your right hand and you put it on the, oh, I can I'll come up a bit so you can see so you put it just where above the pelvis on the right hand side. And basically the movement through the gut goes clockwise. So it goes up along the right hand side, across the middle, and then down on the left hand side. So we're just going to mimic that movement to help things move along the digestive tract. So anything that's trapped, whether it's gas or poo or bloat or whatever, it's just going to help it move along. So you start with the heel of your hand right at the bottom, like near the hip bone, and you just very gently, you just make like a pressing circular, and you just take it slowly up the gut, up the stomach. You want to apply like a little bit of pressure that you can feel. You should be able to kind of like feel your insides a little bit, but you don't want to, obviously, it shouldn't hurt, but you want to kind of feel the pressure. So you just very slowly take it up and you're kind of pushing up. I don't know if you can see if I do that. You kind of push up like that. And then you come along from right to left along the top. And then you can swap hands if you want to. And then you just take it down towards the left-hand side. And then you can just repeat this as many times as you like. So again, coming up the heel of the hand, you're just kind of mimicking the movement of the large intestines. And then you take it across and down. And you can do this like a few times. So you probably would want to do it like 4 to 6 times, just going up and then along. And this is the right order to do it because you're trying to encourage everything to come along and get ready to be pooed out. So you're coming down this way. Okay, so you'll do that a few times and see how that feels. And then the next step is starting at the end this time. You start with the end of your fingers. So we did the last bit with the heel of the hand, and now we're using the end of the finger, and you're kind of making more like circular motion like this, and you're gradually taking the you kind of, I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but you've got to think like the bottom down here is like the exit point. It's near the anus. It's near the rectum. So you're kind of like it's a circular motion, but you're also kind of pushing down as well because you want to and we now want to go and we want to like clear the front bit first to clear out the poo that's here ready to go, and then you can move up and push as you're pushing down. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Keep going across with like the ends of your fingers and just kind of. So again, you should be able to feel the pressure, but it shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. And then you just go down. It's almost like the opposite way that you went on the step one, on step two, because you're trying to loosen it. So this time you're like circling it, but pushing it up as you're circling. So this way you're kind of like circling and pushing down. And this way you're circling and pushing it up to try and encourage it to come up and go into the space that have hopefully been cleared because you've done that bit down. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain it on a video. So you could do that again a few times. I mean, the whole process takes like, you know, 6 to 10 minutes, depending on how many times you do everything. And then you repeat step one again. So you just go back to that. and then going across and then down. And that should just really feel quite therapeutic, quite easing, and you can do that to really help move everything along the digestive tract. So whatever's irritating you, whether it's gas or poo or bloat, or even like if it's diarrhea or whatever, or if you're someone that feels like when you do a poo, you don't actually get everything out. This is quite good for that as well because it encourages everything to move along and come to the end. So it can really increase not just the bowel movement, but how much you're actually getting out with each bowel movement. Is there a question? So like I say, that should take about 10 minutes. It shouldn't take really a long time. You want to do it ideally sort of lying down. You probably want to allow about an hour after eating so that you're not actually digesting the food. It's now in the intestines as opposed to in the stomach. But that's quite a nice thing to do. Again, you could do it in the evening, you could do it in the bath if you're relaxed and you're comfortable in the bath, you could do it, or you could do it after a bath, get into bed. It's quite nice to have a warm drink afterwards. That can be quite soothing. So, I mean, if you really want to tick some boxes, you could have like a peppermint or a fennel tea straight afterwards, and that's just going to really flood the digestive system and make everything super calm. So that's the nice thing to do. Or if you're doing it more in the daytime, you could go for a walk after doing it because again, if you've got everything sort of shifted down and ready to go, going for a walk can be quite a nice way just to stimulate so that you come back and you can go to the loo or whatever you need to do. So, or if it's gas, obviously, that will release it hopefully. So, I thought that was just quite a nice thing to, we spend so much time thinking about the food that we're eating, the supplements, but actually there are some other things that can be really non-invasive, but really helpful and really good, not just for IBS and digestion, but it's just like nice self-care to do anyway. So, how many times do you sit for 10 minutes and just do nothing apart from think about your body and how it feels? And so it's a good thing to do from that perspective as well. So, any question? No?
No.
Okay, so I hope that you're enjoying the program. So this has all been sort of like lifestyle and balance and mental well-being side of things. And then next week is all about it's replace, trying to remember what the word was, replace. So putting all the good stuff in. So then we're talking about like fermented foods and prebiotics and things like that. So really trying to rebuild the microbiome in our gut because that's like the final piece of the puzzle. So hopefully, we've removed the bad stuff, we've relieved the symptoms, we've balanced our mental well-being with our gut-brain axis work, and then next week is all about replenishing everything to like replace it all and hopefully have a really sort of thriving, happy environment for our gut microbes. So that can really sort of set us up for feeling much better with our digestive health. So that's what's happening next week. No questions, so that's great. Okay, fine. So I will post this video up probably tomorrow because it takes a while for the download to happen. And the second movement video is going to go up. The first one's there and it's lovely. It's a really nice stretchy one. And it's about 12 minutes long. And then the second one should go up. We had to do it in two angles because she was standing for some of it and for some of it she was lying down and I can get it all in one camera. So I've had to film it on two separate cameras and then edit it together. So it will work, but I just need to spend a bit of time doing it, and then I'll upload that one hopefully tomorrow. And then, like I say, Monday the new module. I have posted a couple of things on the chat this week. I don't know if you guys are seeing the chat.
Yeah, I did see.
Okay, so I mean, I just thought it might generate some comments, but everyone's very quiet. So if you've got any questions, you can always just message me. It's not a problem if you want to direct a message. Libka, look at the text for you. I'm sorry. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. So if you've got no questions,
No, I just got cut off again.
okay.
Yeah, but um, so I'm just thinking now, what's the difference between IBS and when you have leaky gut?
Okay, so IBS are really the symptoms you could get if you've got leaky gut. So
Okay.
leaky gut could be a cause of IBS. Um, but they are quite linked. Did you understand what leaky gut is?
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
are you going to talk about a bit more about how you could heal your leaky?
Can do. Yeah, I can do. I mean, with leaky gut, what you need to do is you do the remove bit because you're taking out whatever might have really inflamed and irritated the gut, and then it's about rebuilding the actual gut integrity itself. So things that's really good for that is things like glutamine. It's very good. Have you heard?
Yeah, I was taking that last year actually.
Oh, okay, last week.
No, last year
Oh, last year. How long did you take it for?
for about 3 months, I think, for a while.
And you didn't notice an improvement with that?
Yeah, I did. I always feel better when I don't eat too much gluten.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
gluten can
sugar.
be really inflammatory in the gut. And obviously people have got celiac, they've got a specific diagnosis, but so many people seem to find gluten is very inflammatory. It just really irritates. It can be a real driver for something like leaky gut. I mean, the other thing that's good is I've got it here is you could try this. This is the prebiotic powder that I take. It's by a company called Zinzino. You might have heard of them because they're really big on their marketing. But I only use this from their range, but it's amazing. It's a prebiotic powder, so I have it every day. This has been shown, this specific one, to help rebuild the mucosal layer inside the gut. So that's going to help to protect those tight junctions and help hopefully sort of aid leaky gut. So if you've done the glutamine for 3 months already,
Mm,
say maybe try something like that and see if that helps to kind of heal that mucosal layer and build that up. And then hopefully that will, complete the healing because you shouldn't really need more glutamine. I mean, unless obviously you took it a while ago. So if you've then gone back to not, not eating well or whatever and affecting your gut, it could have undone the good that you did. But this is good. This is a good product. I just got it up here because I buy it in bulk for myself. The other thing you could try is things like collagen because all the connective tissue uses collagen.
oh, I take collagen. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's really good, even for skin.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
things like zinc and vitamin C and vitamin A. So, I mean, you could do there's a zinc test, which is you just take it, it's about I don't know, £10, £12 for a zinc solution, and you drink a little bit of it. And depending on how it tastes in your mouth, if you are or you aren't deficient in zinc, and then you just top it up with the solution as a supplement, and that's very good. And zinc again is really important for the gut integrity, which is what we're talking about, not having a leaky gut. It's the integrity of the gut wall. So you could try that as well, making sure your zinc levels are good. Uh,
Mm.
that might help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can I get the test from if I
I can send you a link for it. I'll send you a link for it. I'll put it next to my notes.
thank you so much.
That's okay, darling. I mean, it's not expensive, and it does give it's helpful because zinc is so crucial, and zinc's important for thyroid as well. So there's lots of things we need zinc for. So if you're low in it, you definitely want to build that up.
But I'm thinking I have been taking zinc last year as well. 30 milligrams, I think.
Okay, I mean that's quite a
Yeah.
good dose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have a look at your blood results and we'll have a chat in the week.
Yeah, especially for the thyroid, just thing
Yeah.
the under, then I might need another blood test. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right, darling. I'll have a look for you. Okay.
brilliant.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for showing up.
Thank
I'll see you
you.
all later. All
See you
right.
next week. Bye.
Bye, Louisa. Bye, Liv. Bye.